Hi guys, how you doing? This is Rich here on behalf of Rich TV Live with our very special guest, Kiran Sidhu, the CEO of Halo Labs. How you doing today, Kiran?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Hope you had a fantastic long weekend. I know that you visited Canada for Thanksgiving and we just missed each other. And I'm excited to have you on the show again today. This is becoming almost like a weekly thing and I'm really liking it. Kind of creating like a Batman and Robin, you're Batman, I'm Robin type of scenario, talking about tackling the cannabis sector. And today was a great day in the cannabis sector.
Right.
Huge day in the cannabis sector. We can talk about that. We can also talk about some big news that you're going to announce. Whenever you're ready to announce it, we can get into that. But in the
Right.
meantime,
Just getting it. I'm just looking. We're just getting it cleared by Business Wire.
no problem. So whenever you have that cleared, we'll go live with your breaking news. In the meantime, what do you think about the news with Afria today? CanTrust came out today saying that they are doing everything they can to try to get their business back on the shelves. Cannabis stocks green all over North America today. Hey, introduce who you got there today.
So I'll introduce you. This is Andreas Met.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
He's a director. He's our chief operating officer, and he's one of my co-founders.
Yeah,
Right?
just got out of the field.
Pleasure to see you, Andreas. Pleasure to have you on Rich TV Live. And thank you for joining us.
This is Greeny, who's our other co-founder. It was the three of us who founded the company. And the way it worked was Andreas was down in the chicken coop blasting. And show them what you blast, Andreas. This is what we blast.
We picked this out of a partner's field today. We have a very strong relationship with Nectar, which is a dispensary in Oregon. And they have 4 acres that our team is at today picking these kind of fresh flowers. So this is a fresh plant picked out of the field and it's destined to fresh frozen to make live resin with.
So we freeze it and toast.
We picked 65 of these totes today.
Oh.
Which is very exciting for us.
Which is like 500 pounds.
Wow, 500 pounds.
Yeah, 500 pounds out of the field today from them. And then we have our own. They have 4 acres, we have 6 acres, so that's 10 acres, right? And then what it makes is this stuff, right? The live resin in the end, which to us is so I would say to make this, you probably grab a bunch of this. How much do you need of that to just make this?
About this much.
You need about that much of this to make just this little thing, right?
Wow.
That's why they call it concentrate.
That's right.
Concentrated marijuana.
That's right.
So the way it would work, and Andreas is coming back, and is that the way it would work in the days when we started is we had a post with a bunch of medical cards out at Andreas's farm, and we took the chickens out of the chicken coop, and Andreas in those days poured the butane over the plant, and it would make a bunch of gunk, and then we take it up to his garage where I would work the vacuums to put it into this.
Wow.
And then we put it in the back of Grady's car, and Grady would take it and go sell it to dispensaries. And so we're here in Medford, Oregon, because it's harvest, right? And we're here harvesting and, just working, hands-on working.
I love it. And, the viewers love to see people in action. The one thing that I've been hearing from everybody in our community is how they love the fact that you're an industry insider and you're so real. And you come here and you just talk to us, and you're showing us the product, and you're showing us your facilities. That means a lot because a lot of people don't understand how many cannabis enthusiasts are really invested in these stocks. I would say at least 50%, maybe higher, of all of the investors are cannabis enthusiasts. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I think I got an email from one of your viewers who went to Oakland. And they said, hey, I can't find the dab tabs on the Oakland Ease menu. But then we went around it, and then there was an error or glitch or something, and boom, there it was. So he said, here it is for you. There it is. I wish I could legally deliver it to you personally, but I can't. So go ahead and order it on Ease.
Right? Yeah, and that's the thing is, I love the fact that you're able to talk about a product, and then we'll have an enthusiast, an investor, a viewer who will sit there and say, hey, I want to try that product. That is instantaneous business. This is the future of influencers working in the cannabis sector. I'll be honest with you guys. I've been a cannabis enthusiast my whole life. Even before this was legal, I was always interested in cannabis stocks. 5 years ago, and I'm sure you know this because you've been in the game, Kieran, a long time, you could not deposit cannabis stocks. Do you remember this?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Nobody would take it.
Remember, Andreas and I and Greeny, we were at Golden Leaf. Remember, it was the first cannabis U.S. company to go public.
That's right.
The first audit, we got the first listing, and that was during the medical days. And we started this company when we left Golden because they wanted to use CO2 and we wanted to use BHO so we could make, live resin, this stuff. And you can't do that with CO2. All you can make is carts, and we're big believers in broad spectrum concentrates, right? Ain't that right, Grady? Yeah. And poor Grady would always have to test everything too, before we took it out there, We tested everything all ourselves, but Grady bore the brunt of it, being the youngest of us. Yeah. But talking more, going over business, as we put statistics out in Oregon, we had a bumper harvest, huh?
Yeah, I think we're going to pull maybe 15 to 20,000 pounds of flower out of our Evans Creek farms. And we have also 2 other partners. We have teams in 2 different farms. There's a labor shortage in Southern Oregon because of all the hemp. So our partners are asking us to come to their farms and pull material and to pack it up and blast it at very good rates.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. I love what you guys are doing, man. You guys are definitely doing some huge things at Halo Labs. I have an investor that says they have 16,000 Halo. Come on, guys, make it rain green. So it's good to see that there's investors that are buying the stock. I think that the sector right now is very, very undervalued, guys. Very underappreciated, very underexposed. And I commend you guys for coming out and showing your faces when a lot of CEOs are afraid because, they're probably getting beaten up by shareholders. Why is the stock down? Why is the stock down? I'm constantly trying to explain this to people. When stocks are down, that's the best time to buy. I know it's hard for people to believe. It's very inverted, but I'm constantly trying to explain to people, why do you want to buy a stock like CanTrust? It goes up 50%. I got 50 people messaging me today, Rich, should I buy CanTrust? I'm like, why didn't you buy it when it was down? You want to buy it when it's up 50%? People are triggered in their brain to buy when something's already up. Right. Is this not the best time to buy? Historically, for the cannabis sector, we are the lowest we've seen since 2017. Would you agree, Kieran?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Look at Canopy's like 26. I think it was up a little bit today, 27. I mean,
lowest we've seen since 2017. Afria, lowest we've seen since that one mishap since 2017. Aurora, lowest we've seen since 2017. We're seeing company after company, and we're talking some of the biggest that are now going down to the lowest prices we've seen since 2017.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree. But I want to tell your investors also, everything isn't rosy. Here in Oregon and California, we have this vape crisis. We have this ban imposed on flavored vapes. All of us are frantically now going to what's known as cannabis-derived terpenes. Andreas will bring you and show you some of this. So before we could use botanical terpenes, and we as a company are going to take a hit, right? But we have our farms. So we're going to be making, we're changing, in order to get money in the door, we're going to be making pre-rolls. We're going to be using our flour.
Good for you guys.
To help us. And we have that. The other thing we have is we're 50% concentrates. So it's not subject to the ban. So we've always been big believers in concentrates, right, Grady? Do we smoke dog water? Hot dog water? Absolutely not. We don't smoke hot dog water. We all smoke, rosin. So here, this is what we do. So explain how this works, Andreas.
So what you see in front of you right here is those are cannabis-derived terpenes. So we caught those in a vacuum oven. And then this thing in front is the metric tag.
Yeah, that's the tag. Everything has to be tagged.
Everything in Oregon has to be tagged. And here's the terpenes. And of course, you can't smell them over the computer, but they're bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
That smells really good. And so this is what we've been banking now, and we can bank probably better than our competitors. It's really, I think it's going to be a 2-horse race in Oregon with this deconstruction. because I think it's only us and a company called Cura, Cura, that are really going to weather this storm well.
Like Curaleaf? Are you mean Curaleaf?
Yeah, Curaleaf.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Because they will select. And so, again, but we do this.
We're launching joints this week. We're going to try to sell 1 million joints in Oregon.
1 million
Wow.
joints in the area.
Four for every user in Oregon.
And what do you sell them for? What do you sell them for?
These are going to be half-gram joints. Are going to be $4 wholesale for a $10 out the door.
So
$2 a piece.
$2 a piece.
So $2 a piece at retail, but we're going to sell them for $4. There's a 1 point doubling it at 20% margin.
Right. So this is, I mean, so yeah, there's a vaping crisis. Times are tough, but again, we're ganjapreneurs, right?
I love it.
So I went to Brown University. I went to Wharton. I was a banker. Andreas, you worked at, where'd you work, Andreas?
I worked at a number of places. My last place was Walmart.
So he was a category manager, all-star at Walmart, doing packaged soap and detergent. But we've been in this since 2012. Yeah. This is what we do, right?
I love it.
Great. Since the day he was born, right?
Been in the cannabis sector. Hey, listen, what is it that gets you guys so excited to wake up in the morning?
What makes us excited to get waking up in the morning in the cannabis sector?
Yeah, I just want to know, like, as a CEO and guys that are actually in this game, like, I'm on the outside. I'm an investor. I want to know, like, what is it like to actually be a CEO of these public companies? Like, it's got to be crazy. Like, one day you wake up, CannTrust is growing behind walls. The next day you wake up, CannTrust is burning $77 million worth of product, and the stock goes up 50%. How do you wrap your head around this sector? It's crazy.
No, well, first of all, we don't look at the stock price day to day. We just don't do it. We keep our heads down and do our work, right? And, I can't apologize. I've seen other CEOs say, I'm sorry for what's happened to the stock. I'm sorry. All I can do and all we can do is we get up every morning at 5:36 and we go to bed every night at about 11 or 12. Right? And then I get up at about 3 sometimes in the morning because of the Sudo Africa, and we're just constantly working. And every day in this sector, you get your ass kicked. Okay? I don't care what any CEO says. A bank account is shut down, my credit card's closed down, something, I remember when we started in this factory here, we have 16,000 square feet. Next time I'll take you through the factory.
Yeah.
Was it 16 or 14? It's like 10.
Oh, let's call it 16.
Let's call it 16. Every inch of it, because we have a courtyard that's full of. We have a courtyard that probably has 2,000 pounds of marijuana in it right now.
Oh wow!
We have 8,000 pounds of weed out there.
We have 8,000 pounds of marijuana. I can flip to the phone and show you guys.
Jeez.
But the point is that when we started in this facility, what happened was there was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. There was a bus down the road, and they found in some guys who were making meth our products. And the local law enforcement, the DEA, didn't even know we existed.
Wow.
And they came down here and they took everyone out of the building, and they said, we didn't even know you existed, right? And then that day, I remember I was staying at Andreas's house. It was snowing. We called our lawyer, and then they came, and then they found out we had all the licensing. In the end, which was a very tense stand-up, with everyone lined up. They're like, we want to enter the building. We're like, no warrant.
You aren't coming in.
You're not coming in without a warrant, guys.
Oh, wow.
And so then afterwards, they shook hands and said, look, at some point, will you give us a tour? We said, absolutely. Then our lawyer said, absolutely not. You don't give them a tour because they're just going to find problems, right?
Smart lawyer.
Tons of, people through this facility. Always you have a little compliance problem here and there. The last one was our ethanol tanks weren't grounded. And that's the reality of the situation. We're going to pay a $4,000 fine, but who knows you have to ground your ethanol tanks, right? So this is the whole thing about this business is that, an investor, you're right, you wake up their lumps and you think about the tax situation with 280E, but in the long run, this is the business because this product is actually good for you. It's healthy. It cures anxiety. Does a lot of things for you. Right?
The cannabis plant's been around for a long time before any of us were around, and people were using it then. And here we are in 2020 going into, and people are using it now for almost everything.
Right.
You know, so
absolutely.
we got hemp, we've got CBDs, we've got flour, we've got cannabis infused beverages. I mean, we've got edibles. We got so many different,
All are edible.
ways to make money.
This is a huge seller. So this is 1,000 milligrams of THC, right? And it's in a syrup. And people take, depending on who you are, you take a teaspoon of it every night before you go to sleep.
I take a teaspoon every night.
And before he goes to bed.
And maybe at 1 o'clock if I wake up. I also take another teaspoon.
And then we have one of the better selling edibles in the state. Remember, edibles are only 10% of the game, right?
Yeah.
So it's not big, but here's our edible. Hey, Andres, can you open this?
Yeah, it's kind of child.
It's kind of child-proof.
So this is the outside. This is Hush.
Right.
Nice labeling, nice product.
You should probably get another one Brady after I touch it with rubber pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this would be the gummy. It's the
and it has a Hush logo on it.
50 milligrams of THC, which is a lot. Most people should only eat 1/10 of this.
Right.
So you would have to cut this into like a tiny little piece the size of my thumbnail here.
Oh,
if you
wow.
eat this whole thing and you're not used to it, you'll have a bad experience and go to the emergency room.
Right. But we warn that. We warn that on the back. We say, look, guys,
very good.
you don't, unless you're Greeny, he can handle it.
And you guys, he'll take 5. And so you guys products are all lab tested?
Oh, 100%.
Very good.
Third-party lab tested.
Third-party lab tested.
Very good.
And anything we have a room here that we've kept for maybe how many? 3 years?
3 years.
It's a quarantine room. So we probably have, I don't know, $1 million worth of product in that quarantine room. Wow. So over the years, anything that's tested bad. But what's interesting, as a state cleans up, in California, half of everything tests bad right now. In Oregon, maybe get a failure 5% of the time, not even that.
Not even that.
It's like less than 5%, because what happens is legalization cleans up the entire state.
Of course.
Right?
Absolutely.
And California is just going through it right now. And speaking about California, things ain't that good in California. It's a good time to buy the stock. Meaning that California, the vape crisis has come.
Let's talk about this vape crisis, because I don't know how much we know about it here in Canada. All the companies have been affected, clearly, because of it. And today
caused the last step down in the U.S. stock.
Yeah, and I was listening to the Afria conference call this morning, and they mentioned that their vape sales are worth 30% of their bottom line revenue. And I was like, whoa. I didn't realize it was that high.
Everybody's like that.
Yeah, so that's standard, I guess, across the board. Is vape?
No, it depends. There's certain companies that are hugely into vapes, like Orchid Ventures, like Cura, right? They're huge into vapes. And but with us, because we're industry guys, we've always loved the concentrates. So when we even tried to make our first vape cartridge, we used concentrate, right? And it used to separate. So we used to put like signs on it saying, you got to treat it like milk and do all this other stuff. Use quickly, right? But yeah, we've all been hit by it. And it's just a question of pivoting, right? So we pivot more into concentrates. We have the dab tabs. We're pivoting into that. I was just on the phone with the CEO of one of the top 5 LPs. I can't mention who, but he himself is a very enthusiastic guy. He's not like, he's from the space, and he's about to do something, hopefully he'll do something with dab tabs. We're talking to other people out east about doing stuff with dab tabs. So it's brought attention to what we've always said, that, vapes are great and for introductory users, but concentrates are where it's at. They're more natural. They're more pure. You don't have any additives. You don't have issues, that you have with the vape crisis.
So what? Okay,
getting concentrates in an adaptable form.
What exactly are they banning when you say vape crisis? What exactly are they banning?
Well, the first thing they're doing is they're banning all flavored vapes. So like a lot of people like to smoke their honey lavender THC, their bubble gum, their Skittles, their Milky Way, right?
Yeah.
Their chocolate flavored vapes, which to me personally as a user is absolutely disgusting, right? I'm not into it either. But it was about, with us, it's a quarter of our business.
That's a big part of
our business goes food. So we said, how do we make it up? And we said, the way we're going to make it up is by starting to sell flour and sell pre-rolls to fill that void. But that's going to take 30 days to do because we've had to wipe out all our inventory.
Wow.
And when you're as big as us, I mean, in Oregon, we sell about 150,000 units of stuff a month.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're the second largest in the state.
So what do you do with all that inventory?
We reclaim it.
We reclaim it.
You just put it back through the process, and you basically have lost your money on your labor and your labor and the finished goods.
The cartridge,
the bags.
So basically, you rip everything up, you
pull it back out,
and you melt it down,
yeah,
and then you redistill it, and you redo it. It's called reclaim.
The thing that's
what a nightmare that they make you go through that. Jeez.
No, but it's, in the end of the day, it's for the public good. We understand it, and it's going to make us better industry, and it's going to weed out all the people all the people on the margins.
I love the fact that you're having a very positive attitude towards it, and you're not using it as an excuse. Like a lot of companies would use it as an excuse. Oh, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. You're being honest about it. Okay, this is the problem, and you're finding a solution. This is what most companies, if not all companies that are successful, have to do.
It's more than a solution. It's more than a solution.
It's a future.
As Kieran will always say, these kind of times are where we get more aggressive.
Smart.
And where we have the chance to steal more of the chair. These are times of great opportunity. Anytime there's a disruption, we have the chance to come out on top even better. That's how we look at it.
Yeah. I like that attitude.
Obviously, we're positive because we want to rule.
No, hey, and you know what? You guys are. I mean, you guys' revenue is good. You guys have like just under 10 million in quarterly revenue. So you guys are clearly, up there as far as revenue in all of America right now. So you guys are on the list. You guys are up there. You guys are ranked. So people are getting to know your name. People are getting to know what you guys do. Now that we're doing these shows, more and more people are going to learn about your product. We're going to put it all over social media, and the dab tabs are becoming like a household name now. So, you guys have done really good work, and I commend you for your honesty and your transparency. Because like I said, we're in a sector that has gone from being illegal, where people have been hiding for a century or longer, and now everyone's coming out of the shadows, and they're coming and saying, hey, look who I am. We're legal. We've got this experience. We've got this background, and we want to be the biggest, and we want to be the best. And I love the fact that you guys are doing that. I do. It means a lot. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to our community that is watching. It means a lot to the investors that are home. There are people that are watching from all over the world right now that are learning about your company and are getting a chance to see the people behind the vehicle. One of the questions is, how many employees do you guys have? Do you guys have?
Here in Oregon, I mean, we probably have 200.
Right now, because it's seasonal, we're about 120 in Oregon, 120 to 130. We've got 50 or 60 people out at the farm. We got 50 or 60 people here, and we got some people, up in Portland as well.
And that's just Oregon.
That's Oregon.
In California, we have now I'd say about 30 to 40 people.
Yeah.
And then in Nevada, probably 10 to 15.
So you guys have around 200 employees.
Yep.
That's a big business.
It is.
That's a big business. That's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, it is. It's I mean, if you're gonna, but I'd say revenue per employee relative to others, we're pretty up there. But I don't know. But what I can tell you is that we are relentless, and we've been in this business so long that we don't let stuff deter us. So, for instance, on Friday, the CEO of the fourth largest, and I can't say who, but the fourth largest distributor in California just said, I'm out. I can't take this. I came from Apple, and this I just can't take the stress. And all I have to tell you is that if you're in the cannabis industry, you have to embrace the stress.
Yeah, I mean, it's
right.
You gotta, if you're in the cannabis industry and you don't know how to deal with stress,
right,
you're probably not meant for the cannabis industry.
Right.
Because in this industry, everybody that's been in the game, they know exactly how to relax. Right?
I agree. So on Friday, we announced the acquisition of Dispensary Track, and we announced an upsizing of our offering. We actually placed 4 million Canadian of common stock at a premium to market without any warrants or any brokers or anything. Those are people who believe in us. And a lot of people asked us, what are you doing with Dispensary Track? This doesn't make sense. And I kept telling people, stay tuned, stay tuned. It makes a lot of sense. And today, just now, we have some breaking news.
Let's go. Break it.
Okay. And I wanted to break it on your show because, you're my favorite guy to talk to and
Awesome.
one of the most knowledgeable guys here. And so what we did is what Dispensary Track is it's an application that allows dispensaries to better manage flow and allow them to communicate with their people as opposed to a POS system, right?
Okay.
And so there are a lot of large dispensaries like 420 Bill in Ontario,
Yep.
where there are waits that could be hours. So if someone has an app and says, boom, I'm coming in and this is what I want, right? Then they can pick a time. So there's actually scheduling needed, which is kind of strange because in Canada, you don't have such dispensaries that are mob. And so people said, well, that's sort of a great idea, but what else are you doing? And today we announced a deal with Greeny.com, which is a CBD online superstore that's launched just today with 350 products.
Wow.
So what we're doing is within Dispensary Track, we're putting a virtual store up for every dispensary that wants it. So that way their name, the products they want, and they have Greeny's complete fulfillment capability. Right?
Wow.
And so that way they can tailor a solution, and then we get 15%, which we'll share with the dispensaries equally, right? So that's the first sort of slot under Dispensary Track, right?
Very
we
nice.
get a massive amount of CBD products out there, and it enables our salespeople to have another thing to differentiate themselves, because that way we're going to sort of give Dispensary Track, but we'll get residual revenue off Greeny. And it's the first deal with a large website. This is backed by the guys, Havanas, the guys who did those sandals, the Brazilian sandals that were really hot for a long time, the surfer sandals.
I'd have to see it.
You should look at it. When you look,
I will.
these guys are really well versed in online.
Very good. Very good. And do you know what type of traffic the website gets?
It just launched today, right?
Very good.
We'll start looking at traffic and all those metrics. But from our perspective, we don't really care what traffic they get. We like the fact that it's the back end, and it's a question of what traffic our dispensaries get. So basically, it becomes a virtual extension to the dispensary, right?
Wow.
So
is it kind of like a Weed Maps idea?
It's
kind of like a Leafly idea? Like there's a lot of different apps.
Not really, because Leafly and Weed Maps, they brand their own brand. Here, let's use 420 Bill. They use Dispensary Track, then there's going to be the 420 Bill CBD store online, right? And so what they will do is they'll be able to promote it in the store. People can order as a virtual extension in the store or at home on the 420 Bill Dispensary Track app.
Wow. Now,
what we're doing is skinning it.
So they can order online, but they don't deliver. So they would still have to go in and pick up their product.
Yeah, it depends on the jurisdiction, right? Certain jurisdictions have delivery, others don't.
Okay.
Right? But the whole idea is to give the store a virtual extension because every store is jammed with shelf space, right?
Smart.
And so CBD products are a cannabis-like product that people want, but people don't have room on their shelf to have CBD dog biscuits.
Very smart. You can only put so much stuff on your shelves, but in a virtual shelf, you can have unlimited product.
Right. And so
Very
even
smart.
though this will bring us revenue, what it'll do is it brings us value add and continuity with the stores, right? And a lot of people say, well, this is not your core competency. Go, absolutely, it's our core competency. It is. I mean, we work together at Party Poker, which is the largest online gambling site in the world. I mean, this is a core competency for us. I told everyone does it, hint, hint, to Namaste, right? So eventually the peripherals there are going to be other extensions of Dispensary Track, and then that runs on its own division. It's funded by itself and with its own guys, right? So it doesn't take away from our core business, only to the extent I'm explaining it to you.
Oh, it just enhances your business dramatically.
It augments it. Totally augments.
Which is exactly what investors want to hear is how are you guys augmenting your business to make more profits, to be more profitable, to compete in a changing landscape where one day vaping is great, the next day vaping is banned. I mean, it's difficult to be able to change on the fly. But you guys
Right.
clearly are doing a great job.
We're pretty good at that. We've had to do it many times, so
You
you
know,
get very good at everything. Once
yeah,
you
I
do
mean, it takes experience. I mean,
Can
again,
you
we've
guys
been in
touch
this-
on what it takes? Because I don't think a lot of people get it. I've never grown. I have a lot of friends that have. And they tell me it's like science. Can you guys kind of explain what it's like to grow? Obviously, it's not easy. There's all kinds of problems. Sometimes there's issues with mold. Sometimes there's issues with bugs. Can you explain what it takes to grow? It's science, right? It's really science, right?
It's just hard work and experience. And the growers we have, we're not going to call them master growers. Everybody has a master grower. We've got third generation growers working here for us.
Wow.
And they just have a system that works. And it doesn't just work on our farm, it's worked on hundreds of farms in the past 30 years. So we have a system. Everyone's got a system. I saw a different system today. You just have to have a system, some experience, and then take care of the plants right. So, and we happen to be very good at it.
And Mother Nature with us, because we're outdoor growers, we're in the Emerald Triangle. Mother Nature is a really important component.
So this year, the growing conditions were pretty much perfect, and the harvest conditions have been pretty much perfect.
Yeah, but because we're blasters, because we use butane, which a few guys are going to start using in Canada, right? Like, as we mentioned, Balance is looking to do it. The mold is actually our friend.
Yeah, the mold that gets filtered out and gets destroyed at 70 below zero in butane. Butane, like, there's not a lot of life on like Saturn, right? And that's close to butane, I guess. So butane's not good for life. So it filters everything out, totally cleans it up.
And
so if you see mold, you're not worried about that. You can still find use of that product. That's what you're saying.
Mold is not a problem.
It is not a problem for us. If you're doing CO2, it's a problem, right?
I understand.
Ethanol isn't a problem either.
No, we have so many processes to get rid of mold.
So we don't have issues with any of that. To us, it's a moldy grow means we get more product, right?
Mold is bad for flour.
But our end product is tested for mold, it's tested for fungus, it's tested for heavy metals, it's tested for everything.
Yeah, and let me be very clear about something. Out at our farm, as we harvest, when we find spots of mold, it gets cut away. It's not like we say, oh, mold, who cares? No, we care about mold.
Of course.
But processes get rid of it even from the beginning. If we're out in the field and there's a piece of mold on a plant, we'll take our scissors and we'll cut that little piece of mold off, because you cut that off and then the plant stops molding.
Right, because you don't want the whole plant to turn moldy.
Right.
But there's still residual spores, right?
Yeah, there's spores
There's
everywhere.
spores everywhere, right? I mean, that's part of the nature of it, right? It's in Canada, you have these big sort of hermetically sealed grows. Out here in the Emerald Triangle, keep in mind that prior to legalization, right, you have your BC bud and you have the triangle. And between the two constitutes, we serve maybe 80% of the country before it was legal. So this is where we fly the 51st state of Jackson flag. And, you know, this is the triangle. So what Andreas is saying is that our growers' fathers grew, their grandfathers grow, their sons are going to grow.
They are
You
growing.
know, they're all growing. You know,
The grandchildren will grow.
and the grandchildren will grow.
Now it's legal. Now it's legal. Now you're a businessman, right? Now you're an entrepreneur. Before it was kind of like, you know, yeah, it was a lot of money being made and people were doing it, but you can get in trouble. You could go to jail. You could be, you know, like you could change your life.
So for the record, all of us came in right when it started legalizing with Golden, right? He had his own grow, Andreas, for his mom, who suffers from PTSD, right? She was in Nazi Germany, and he would grow a few plants, which was legal, and he'd make
tinctures
out of kombucha.
Right.
He made kombucha tea tincture for his mom.
That's amazing. That's a great story. I love hearing people's, you know, kind of background in the industry and getting a chance to see where it's all kind of coming to fruition now here in 2020. I think 2020 is going to be a crazy, huge year in the cannabis sector, guys. I mean, it's been funny. I know 2019 has been a roller coaster ride. And I know everybody's getting gray hairs because it's been like crazy watching stocks.
No hair.
We're watching stocks go down, but yet companies are reporting record revenue growth, right? So we're watching stocks revenue grow exponentially everywhere, but yet we're finding 52-week lows and everyone's like, when's it going to end? When's it going to end? And we've been hearing this for so long. I truly believe it's going to be ending soon. And I believe the upside is going to be tremendous from here. I've been saying to everyone that in my opinion, the upside, and I actually did a video on this yesterday, I believe the entire sector will double. And I think in some cases it will triple. We will see the entire sector grow by, in my opinion, 100 to 200%. Just based on the fact that everybody's revenues are growing, companies are starting to become profitable. And the closer companies get to profitability, eventually you're not going to be able to hold this back any longer. Like one of the great examples is TrueLeaf. Now, TrueLeaf is the most profitable company in the cannabis sector, with the exception of Scott's Miracle-Gro. But we're not going to count Scott's Miracle-Gro because they've been around for so long. But out of all the recent companies that have hit the market over the last, let's say, 3 years, they are the most profitable. They've got 30 million in profit in the last quarter. That's 120 million a year if they just average that out over a period of a year. That's impressive.
Oh no, it's True Relief. True Relief is a great company. Kim Rivers, I mean, she's a studette. I mean,
yeah,
and she's amazing.
Like a superhero. She's like a superhero for the sector.
Supposed to go to, but you know what she did is she stayed focused.
Yes.
She stayed the course, right?
Yes.
She just opened more dispensaries faster than everyone in Florida, right? And she just cranked it, right? And she's the beast of the East. She doesn't look anything like a beast, let me tell you, but she's definitely the beast of the East.
But look at TrueLeaf over the last 3 months, while everybody's been getting decimated, TrueLeaf actually reported those huge revenues and then went down. Right. Since they hit the bottom, they've been just climbing up.
Right. The reason they went down has to do with competition in Florida, because now they're up. So there's True Relief, and there's a private company owned by the Wrigley's called Surterra, right? That just bought Meta in Massachusetts. That actually is trying out the dab tabs, which is the largest. Oh, wow. Which is the largest dispensary in the United States. It's called Meta in Boston.
Wow.
So Surterra's private and True Relief's public, and Surterra's cranking too. And then you have we've mentioned him before, one of our partners, Kaliba here, who's also a lot like that Surterra, which is a private company in California that's also cranking. But you're right, they're doing really, really well. And we all aspire to be like Kim and stay focused.
And that is a great example of where I believe the sector is going. Because in a downturn where everybody's gone down, you can't just point your finger at yourself and ask what's wrong with me. It's a sector-wide issue. So if the CEOs, and I know you guys are doing this, focus on the path to profitability and just eliminate all the noise, what I feel is already being proven based on TrueLeaf's results is that the path to profitability is the path to the stock going where we want it to go. It's the path to profitability. And clearly with what you're seeing with TrueLeaf is all the institutions are buying it now. All the smart money's buying it now. Everybody's buying that one company. Why? They're the most profitable company in the sector.
Charlotte's Web's up there too, but I wouldn't call it part of the sector.
Yeah, and Charlotte's Web, I would call them the number one CBD company in the world. I love Charlotte's Web. So they are just tremendous. And as well, they're a part of the list of profitable companies. And once again, a higher price stock. Why? Because they have the fundamentals to back them, right? They've got the profitability. This is what everybody is waiting for in the sector. It's now happening. It's not like we're talking about it. Like last year, we were talking about profitability.
Right.
It's now happening. This is when I started seeing, even though I didn't see it in the stocks, in my mind, that's when the sector started to turn.
Right.
It started to turn.
So the issue right now is there's a focus on cash flow, because there's no cash to be raised, right? Unless you have a path to profitability.
Yes.
But just, again, leveling with everyone, revenue is going to take a hit because you're going to have to deliver cash flow. So you're going to have to take filler revenue. Like if you do, as Andrea said, these joints are a 50% margin, right? These guys are probably a 20% margin. So you want to sell more of this than this.
Absolutely.
Right? But this costs less, so your revenue goes down, but the profit contribution of this is more than this, right? So it's just a simple math. And so what I am telling our investors is focus on our cash flow, because those guys who are going to come out solid the other end are those guys who have good cash flow and sustainable cash flow. So every night when I go to bed, I want to make sure there's more cash in our bank than the day before, right? So yesterday we were looking, and the key to our profitability for all the investors is dispensary sales in California. Dispensary penetration in California is the key to our success in the short to medium term. And the medium to long term, the key to our success is Africa.
No, and I love it.
That's the way I view it. And it seems a little wacky from California to Africa, but there are way too many competitors in Arizona. There are way too many competitors in Illinois. And there we're going to be smart and partner with the guys who have the infrastructure, which is the MSOs. So you'll start to see partnerships there where our products that we make that they don't know how to make, we'll make for them in their plants. That's our objective.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I love it. If there's any other messages you want to send to our community, what would it be?
It would be, feel free to email us on our website. When you're out, come to visit. I mean, we've had multiple visitors in Cathedral City, multiple visitors here in Medford. You're always welcome to visit, always welcome to ask whatever questions you want, and we'll give you whatever answers we can give you.
I'm just reading some messages, see if there's any other questions. Ramdad is asking, Rich, ask them why no company presses rosin.
This is what's really funny.
That's very funny.
So that's a funny question, because right after this, and I can't again tell you who, and Rich, so we got to keep it quiet, but there's going to be a big rosin push in Canada, one that I've never seen on a biblical proportion. And I was just up in Victoria looking at a site, a manufacturing site that someone offered us basically turnkey. And the first thing I thought to myself is, damn, this would be great to press rosin. And then I thought to myself, what a hassle.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, but what a killer product. And boy, they go in dab tabs,
Yeah.
right? But rosin is just a hassle to make. There's no way to automate it. It's very manually intensive, right? It's an artisan skill, right? So I'm going to love to see how this LP puts a 10,000 square foot factory together with what would be just huge. Think about a hair straightening, tell them how rosin's made.
Rosin, you basically old school, you could use like a hair iron or something, and you basically took some muslin cloth and put the flour in between it, and then you put it together with some wax paper in there and put the hair thing on it. You make like 1/100 of a gram or something like that at a time.
Oh, wow.
I'm a little bit more circumspect about rosin. Rosin is great from great plant material. It's very difficult to make at scale. If those guys are successful, more power to them. And I'll be delighted to see that. But also, it's something that the ultimate consumer is what makes a difference on what's gonna sell. And consumers have not told us they want to have the world flooded with rosin. Consumers have told us they like to have vape pens because they're convenient. You can go smoke them in the grocery store. You can smoke them in the movie theater. You can smoke them. We don't recommend it. It's against the law in your car while you're driving your kids to school. People smoke flower. They've been smoking flower. They eat edibles. Rosin is not. It's not like all of a sudden everybody on the planet's going to switch to rosin. It's just
right.
The consumer hasn't voted for rosin, and it's too hard to make.
Yeah, we tried to make it for like a month or two.
Maybe a week or two.
Or whatever.
We got 3 grams of yield every press, and we did like 100 presses a day. So we did 300 grams a day, and we had 2 guys operating the machine like 16 hours a day. We could switch to rosin and do like $50,000 of sales a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting.
But it's the best product out there.
But it is. It's
your
great.
customer, the person who just asked that question, it's the best product out there. The thing is, it's just really hard to make.
And it's expensive. It'll be expensive retail price.
There's a question here. Any news on the Bathello acquisition?
We're getting really close. All I have to say is the Jewish holidays slowed us down, right? But we're getting really close. I was on the phone with Louisa and the team there this morning, and we're getting really close to getting that all closed up and buttoned down, right? And to us, that's a big deal. And Andreas is going to go out over there. He's going to head over there and get those go check out the greenhouses and sign in person.
We've got a bunch of plants and pots too, and they're awesome Oregonian genetics, and the climate over there is good enough where we think the genetics are going to be perfect for that area.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and when
great.
we say perfect, that's a pretty big statement that I make. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's difficult to have perfect climate anywhere, everywhere.
Yeah, these genetics are, from what I've seen, the genetics are almost perfect for that area.
Wow.
Because it's a very similar climate to here, maybe even better.
That's fantastic. Well, you know what, guys? Thank you guys for breaking the news here today. Why don't you guys just reiterate the news one more time before we say goodbye?
Well, the news is that we just did a deal with Greeny, which was a superstore that just opened up today, a CBD superstore. You guys should go check out Greeny. It's an awesome site. And we're going to take Greeny's catalog, their 3PL behind it, their FedEx deal, and everything. And we're going to put it into Dispensary Track as a virtual store, skin it for large dispensary customers to virtually extend their shelf space to CBD. And we're going to start doing that with other categories as well, to really consolidate, to give us a competitive advantage over other people who are going into stores who are only offering products like we are. We offer special products like Dab Taps, but now we're going to actually offer services, software as a service to dispensaries who want it.
I love it. Congratulations. I'm going to put that news everywhere. We'll have it in the description down below. And keep up the great work. And thank you guys for bringing us into your facilities today and getting a chance to meet the team and put a name with the face.
So much.
Thank you guys for joining us today. Let's talk to you guys soon. Have a great week. Congratulations on all the success today for the sector. It was nice to see a lot of green. Hopefully this continues. And we look forward to speaking to you guys soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care, Rich. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.